What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and in this video I want to talk about a topic that I've been meaning to talk about ever since I got hands-on with this game back in October 2019, and that is Final Fantasy VII Remake. As always, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the content on the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on anything. With all that said though, let's just dive right into today's video, which again is Final Fantasy VII Remake. So for a little bit of context, I got hands-on with this game back in October 2019 at EGX, which is a UK-based gaming expo. I got 20 minutes of hands-on time with the game. I believe it was the E3 demo. That was what popped up on the screen. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture any footage, and I was meant to make this video a while back, but it has been sitting on the back burner for a while. But with the release looming over us, I thought now would be a good time to give my thoughts and my feelings on what this game is. So first and foremost, let's just talk about this demo. I liked the game overall. As I said, I only got 15 to 20 minutes, so I kind of was blitzing through it as fast as possible because I wanted to get to the end of the demo. I didn't want to be one of those guys who, queued up for 2 hours to play this, which happened. I did have to queue up 2 hours. Long story short, queue didn't look like it was 2 hours when we first started lining up, but by the end of it, I was raring to go and play this game, so I made sure to basically get to the end of it. I like the UI, I like the fact that the game runs smooth, the visuals, everything looks fantastic. Controls, from what I saw, felt fairly responsive, or as responsive as I thought they'd be. Don't get me wrong, it's certainly not a DevilNeverCry game with frame perfect responsiveness, but for what it was, it definitely worked. I like the fact that you could switch characters on the fly. We were fighting the Scorpion Sentinel boss, which appears just as Cloud and Barret reach the reactor they want to blow up. And one of the things I see people sort of discuss or get annoyed about is the fact that the game is now obviously, you fight in real time, like it's an action game. It's no longer turn-based. People think that you don't have to play tactically to essentially beat whatever you're fighting, which is not the case. Whilst we're fighting the boss, there were times where you had to hide behind cover because the boss was going to do like an unblockable or unavoidable attack. If you wanted to do extra damage and actually beat the boss, fairly confidently, you would have to take advantage of weaknesses. So for example, I'd have to switch to Barret, who had Thunder, which was what the boss was weak to, and then switch back to Clouds to get in and deal some big damage. So all in all, you still have to think about what exactly you're doing. It's just now it's all real time, so you can't really sit and think. You kind of just have to go with, instinctiveness, essentially. So all in all, my hands-on with the game was fantastic, so to speak. I left that demo feeling happy, feeling confident about what is being released off in April now, April 10th, due to the delay. But there are some other things which I'm not so sure on, which I guess I'll probably take the time now to discuss. The first of which, obviously, which is the elephant in the room, is the episodic nature of the game. Don't get me wrong, a game this big, it's understandable that it's episodic. It's a big game, big project, very high budget as well. So it makes sense to split the game down into chunks which are more palatable, just both for development and for consumers as well. The issue comes when you don't know how many parts the game is going to be. So in all the press footage and press assets and all the promotional trailers and stuff, all you see is the squad in Midgar, which is interesting. Back in the original release of Final Fantasy VII, Midgar was, I'd say, probably the first 4 or 5 hours of the game, and then the game opens up and you spend essentially almost no time in Midgar until the very end when you have to return. But this game seems to be set all in Midgar, and this is just part 1. And Square Enix themselves have gone on record to state they don't know how many parts this game is going to be, which is kind of worrying. Not from a content perspective, because Square Enix have said, look, all of the games or all the parts that we make, they're all going to be full-fledged games, so there's going to be lots of content to dive into, which, is fantastic. Many people have likened it to the Final Fantasy 13 saga, which they kind of followed on from each other. I wouldn't say they're very episodic, but they were their own full-fledged game, which is what I imagine this game is going to be. But then, what is this game going to be finished in 2025? How many parts is there going to be? There's only so many parts people are willing to play, to get to the end of a saga. And a lot of people have stated that part 1 is going to end after Midgar. It's an assumption, so to speak, considering everything we've seen being based just in Midgar. That's personally what I think is going to happen as well, which is going to be interesting, especially with how they've marketed this game. If you look at the game and all the marketing material, if you look at, I think, the box art as well, it just says Final Fantasy VII Remake. And the people that haven't been keeping up with the news of this game are going to be in for a big shock, because they're going to be going through Midgar thinking, oh, this is amazing, this is great, and once they're done, the credits are going to roll and they're going to be like, well, what the hell, this isn't the full experience, or this isn't what I remember the game being back on the PlayStation 1 more than 20 years ago at this point, yeah. But then again, at the same time, Square Enix could pull a fast one on everybody, and just maybe the entire game might actually be coming out on April 10th, which, yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case, but, there's always the potential of them pulling the old switcheroo. Another thing relating to Final Fantasy VII Remake I want to discuss, is the Final Fantasy VII compilation and Final Fantasy VII Remake and how they all fit together. Because, again, Square Enix have gone on record to state that they're going to be taking certain aspects of the compilation and perhaps integrating them into Final Fantasy VII Remake, but again, being vague, being ambiguous as to what exactly that means, kind of saying, wait and see until you actually play the game and discover it for yourself. But for a lot of people, the whole infinite and mystery nonsense from Crisis Core is something they don't want to see returning, which has kind of got people wondering what is going to be returning, Are we going to see Genesis pop out of nowhere and just destroy everything with his loveless poetry? Or, once we get Vincent in the party, is it going to turn into a Dirge of Cerberus-esque game where you're just shooting everything down? It remains to be seen what exactly the taking certain aspects means, but here's hoping that they keep things, minimal, I guess you could say, or just cherry pick the good things. Don't get me wrong, there's certain things that I think are fantastic about games like Crisis Core. The whole ending scene with Zack all together was amazingly done in Crisis Core. And I know some people might prefer the abruptness of how it was handled in the original Final Fantasy VII, but I think what they did with Crisis Core was pretty cool, even if it was a bit cheesy and anime-esque. One interesting thing to take note of, though, if you've seen any of the promotional material, you probably know what I'm talking about. The whole dark, ghost, shadowy things, the pillars of smoke that seem to be flying around in certain pivotal moments in the trailers, which I believe are supposed to be the Watchers of Fate or Watchers of Destiny. This is a concept I believe that they had for the initial release of Final Fantasy VII way back when on the PlayStation 1, which I guess they've decided to implement here. I don't know what role they're going to play or how impactful they're going to be, but considering that they're heavily featured in a lot of the promotional material, it's safe to say that they're not going to be on the back burner anywhere and that they are going to be prominent in the entire story. All in all, though, taking everything into account and boiling it down to the bare essentials, I am 100% hyped for Final Fantasy VII Remake. When it drops on April 10th, I cannot wait. I'll be picking it up obviously day one, and I will be featuring it on the channel in some capacity. Whether I'll be streaming it or creating guides, you'll see some stuff on the channel. It's actually been a whole minute since I've played the original Final Fantasy VII. I think it was over 10 years ago since I last played Final Fantasy VII. It's not my favourite, I know for many it is, but for me that goes to Final Fantasy VIII. It's the first one I fully complete, but then again I did play 7 soon after 8 and I still preferred 8, so I'm not really sure that has much to do with it. But again, I am looking forward to how similar things are and how certain things have changed. Looking forward to fighting a haunted house or turning into a frog, which for some reason sticks out in my brain very clearly whenever I think about Final Fantasy VII. And I can already tell there's going to be people off in the comments talking about how they hated Final Fantasy VIII and how my opinion sucks. But then again, if you can't figure out Final Fantasy VIII's junctioning system, I'm not too sure you're going to have much luck typing something out in the YouTube comments section. Anyway, What do you guys think about Final Fantasy VII Remake? Are you guys hyped for it? Are you looking forward to the changes they've made? Are you feeling positive about it, or are you hoping to see some more Infinite in Mystery nonsense unveil itself in some sort of launch day trailer where everybody conveniently decides to lose their mind at the fact that Genesis is going to be involved into Final Fantasy VII, canonized for all eternity? Let me know down in the comments below. But that is going to wrap the video up. There will be a link in the description to all the channel socials. I have my Twitter on there if you want to get at me on Twitter. The channel also has its own Discord server, so if you want to get in there and talk some DMC or Final Fantasy VII or shitpost to your heart's content, there'll be a link down in the description for that as well. With all of that said and done though, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.